What's going on, fellow A-plussers? It is I, your host as always, Adam Perez, back once again with another Supergirl review as we're about to get into Season 6, Episode number 18, Truth or Consequences, as we had the Truth Totem up to bat here in this week's episode. But guys, listen, spoiler alert. You guys know when you join me for a Supergirl review, you know we're going to get spoiler heavy and certainly talk about what just kind of transpired, as we literally have 2 episodes certainly left to go. The last trailer that we wind up having, the last promo at the end of this episode, showcases that we're going to get ourselves a 2-hour season finale next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time. 2 hours, guys. The last 2 episodes of Supergirl back to back in a 2-hour finale for us. I was kind of hoping that maybe it would be 1 hour and then 1 hour, but listen, I'll take a 2-hour finale, especially with the way that this particular episode wind up ending. I didn't know that this was going to be like the penultimate episode going into the finale. I was very much under the impression that we still maybe had a little bit time to breathe with like 2 more weeks or so before the finale, but ending the way that it certainly did makes all the sense in the world as to why next week is going to be a 2-hour finale. Because first off, I did not see that coming at all. The unfortunate demise and the death of William Day, ladies and gentlemen. And this is crazy coming from somebody like myself that bitched and complained about William all season long. It's the moment that we saw William in this season when he comes back, or when we come back into this particular season, and he meets up with Kara, lets her know, hey, I've got a girlfriend now, by the way, and we met each other on a baked goods competition sort of thing, and now I'm in love. Ever since William dropped that truth bomb on us and let us know that we didn't have to deal with any more sexual, frustrations between him and Kara Danvers, no more senseless flirtations and things like that, strictly business, strictly friendships. Ever since that moment, I've actually been a really big fan of William. I've really enjoyed the way that they've utilized him, instead of actually making him, like, it seemed like William's purpose the entire time of last season was just to be a love interest for Kara Danvers. And I've always known William to be clearly more than that. And I think the fact that they're actually utilizing him in this season to be just another supporting character instead of a love interest has done nothing but wonders for the William character. And for me, I actually became pretty fond of the dude, which is kind of crazy to say how much I, harped on him for Mr. Baked Goods himself sort of thing. But, William really grew on me. And I think he had a really impactful moment in this episode when he's pissed off at Andrea in the beginning of this episode, really telling her off to her face, understanding not only his importance and exactly how good at his job that he certainly is, but acknowledging to her that, one, he doesn't appreciate the fact that she takes his byline, but then also utilizes his information to put out a puff piece, to put out some, gossip column, if you will, about some revelation in Lex Luthor's journal about how much he loves somebody sort of thing. And really all it amounted to was a couple of cheap jokes that people wind up having at Lex Luthor's expense on national television. But the idea of trying to bring Lex Luthor down, that's not the way to go about it. So the fact that Andrea purposefully went ahead and leaked this information that truly amounted to nothing for her at the end of the day, with the exception of now blood technically being on her hands, because this honestly would not have happened if it wasn't for what she wind up doing with William's story, leaking it early, leaking the gossipy information. Lex Luthor probably wouldn't even have a bone to pick with William if it wasn't for Andrea. So the fact that William sends her the video and is like, this is your real story, bitch, like, even though he didn't call her bitch, this is what he was talking about, right? You got to give the man some time, give him some patience to certainly get his story in order, to certainly say the least. But Andreas acting recklessly, acting selfishly, acting single-mindedly in regards to just the one goal that she has of trying to take Lex Luthor down, has now caused the death of William Day, unfortunately. And that blood is certainly on her hands, and I really do hope that she feels terrible about it, and hopefully maybe finds a way to kind of make it up. Not that she can ever bring William back to life, but at least do right by William, you know what I mean? because this definitely falls on the hands of Andreas, if you ask me. But just sad to see, man. Like, for me, his interactions with Esme in this episode was great. To kind of see that she made like a brand new friend in William, somebody that enjoys baking as much as she did. You know, him giving like his little secrets of baking to her and stuff, I thought was pretty cute. Pretty cool to learn that he was from India. I had no idea what William's nationality was. He's so mixed at this point. It's like I could barely tell. So it was just a really great feature for William in this episode to not only show his seriousness as an investigative reporter, but also just to show his continued friendship with the Super Friends, even offering to stay behind to watch Esme as a part of a wedding gift to Alex and Kelly, to see this unfortunate demise. For a second there, I thought he was actually going to escape when Lex Luthor leaves, but once he actually returns and shoots him, I was heartbroken, and I'm actually really surprised in myself, Adam, for even feeling this type of way about William. And I guess that, look, it goes to show you what you can do by just tweaking one or two concepts about a character's personality or purpose on the show. The moment he stopped becoming, you know, Mr. Sexual Innuendo with Kara Danvers and, you know, Mr. Side Guy, you know, that wants to try and get with her, when he actually had a purpose other than that, he actually became a rather interesting character for me. So I was wondering, you know, I had been seeing a bunch of set photos for quite some time in regards to our characters going to a wedding, trying to fit, or not a wedding, to a funeral, trying to figure out who certainly dies or passes. I would never have thought it was William, but they definitely have made William an impactful character enough to certainly warrant a funeral. So I'm at least glad that he's going to get some recognition in that in next week's episode. But rest in peace, William Day. Incredible episode in regards to that huge cliffhanger and result. I did not see that coming, but it definitely gets me amped up for the finale, to say the least. This episode, honestly, I want to say, if I could be perfectly honest, a little bit lackluster, I feel like, with the exception of the William Day stuff. For me, it felt like the episode was leading up to this one particular moment, right? Like, even though I know that we were trying to search for the truth totem, you know, we see Nyxyly obtain it, activate it, pass the test, even utilizing it on Lex just to make sure that he is in fact telling the truth, which mind you, I still don't think Lex is telling the truth. I don't care what any truth totem tells you. If this man's been to the 31st century, he probably's got some sort of technology or has learned something in order to avoid telling the truth fully when he's around the totems. I don't know, but just don't trust Lex Luthor. Like, it would not surprise me if within the next 2 episodes, now that we see Nyxyly getting closer to him to achieve what he absolutely needs to, it wouldn't surprise me if he's trying to get the totems for himself and he's literally just using Nyxyly to certainly get it. It wouldn't surprise me. It feels very much like a Lex Luthor thing to do, but I guess we'll see next week whether or not that certainly does ring true. Outside of that, and really getting the opportunity to see the you know, Lex, or I should say the Super Friends, acquiring the totems back. Outside of that, it really was just all character work. And not to say that that's bad or anything, but as far as like the level of action and in-depth that we had been getting over the past several episodes, this one felt like it was sort of giving us some things to enjoy, some great character growth, but very much like a what do you call it? The calm before the storm. You know what I mean? Before things really start amping up. We've had some really great, intense, and great episodes so far leading up to this moment. Maybe this is the opportunity where everybody takes a breather, see where they're at when it comes to their story arcs, and then we jump into the conclusion in next week's episode. This felt very much all like setup. For instance, let's talk about Brainiac and Dreamer here, right? They've been hinting at the idea of Brainiac. Hey, maybe you should reach out to the future, see what's going on with Nyxyly and Lex there, find some information. We know how much Brainiac has been against that concept and idea, because knowing too much about the future can be a detriment, unfortunately. And unfortunately for Brainiac, by reaching out to the future, he comes to learn some unfortunate news that he has to go back. Apparently the big brain from his planet or in the 31st century is like damaged or hurt or something, and they need him to sort of take its place or maybe merge with it or wherever the case may be. Brainiac mentions that he would pretty much become sort of non-existent when that happens, right? No longer a living being, if you will. And I gotta say, Jesse Rath, once again, that plays Brainiac, probably one of my favorite actors on this show. You know, like really has a range to do a ton of things. Him, Kyler Lee, who plays Alex, and Melissa Benoist are probably my favorite 3 actors on this show. I feel like they can just tap into emotions like no other and some great range for all those characters, especially Kyler Lee coming in from her Grey's Anatomy days sort of thing for sure. It was just an emotional roller coaster on that show. So, you know, Kyler can definitely bring it when it comes to acting. But to kind of see that fear that Brainiac has about losing everything that he's loved, right? I love his line that he says, you know, I guess the idea that I am feeling these emotions show that all the things that I've been through have meant something to me, you know, that have been extremely important. And it's been a relationship that I've actually been really fond of, Brainiac and Dreamer. They truly do get each other, just based off of their situations. I think that they really make a great couple with each other. So it's really going to be heartbreaking for me to watch, to see that leave, see them leave. You know, it was interesting to me to see that Dreamer even offered the idea to go to the 31st century with Brainiac. Brainiac does mention that once this is over between Lex and Nyxyly, that's when he certainly has to leave. There is a part of me that really wants Dreamer to go with him, though. Like, fuck the timeline, right? Fuck what the future says or whatever time continuum we destroy, you know? Like, I really would like to see Dreamer leave with him. And it's probably pretty naive of me, though, to even keep my fingers crossed at this point to really hope that we still get ourselves a Legion of Superheroes crossover or spin-off show. I really would love to see that. Brainiac, Mon-El, Saturn Girl, Dreamer involved, maybe even Martian Manhunter, or bring Magan in, whatever the case may be. I just think there's just so many characters on this show that there's certainly a lot more story to definitely be told for them. And I think when it comes to Dreamer and Brainiac, that's a storyline that I definitely would like to see explored a little bit more. So, but again, Jesse Rath with the great acting and performance to just show how emotional Brainiac is in this episode. You know, from him realizing the truth, not even fully admitting it to everybody when he first goes back into the tower to tell people about, hey, Nyxyly and Lex in the future, they're king and queen of the universe, before Nyxyly wind up dying at the hands of the Legion. That's why Lex Luthor is certainly back. So he definitely omits the big brain concept and the idea that he's got to go back and pretty much sacrifice himself in order for his race and everything like that to continue to succeed. So I find it interesting that he didn't do it the first time. He kind of gets caught, if you will, has to have that conversation with himself, which I thought went a really long way. And even the idea of him mentioning, like, man, you know, there's a part of me that kind of wishes I still had my emotion inhibitors, you know, so I wouldn't have to experience this. But knowing that he is feeling something just lets him know that, hey, it was all worth it. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens with Brainiac and Dreamer, but it is a storyline that I'm actually really looking forward to. The other storyline that we got in this episode I found intriguing was really the parenting storyline. Alex and Kelly still getting their parenting wings underneath them. Esme has a situation at school, powers malfunction or go haywire sort of thing, and she winds up getting in trouble. I think she's got a baking competition or something like that. Somebody said something negative about one of her chocolate goods, and her powers activated sort of thing. And so we've got Alex trying to do some blood work and tests and things like that to try and figure out what's wrong, and really worried about her abilities and really wanting her to kind of learn them and be able to control her abilities, especially as she gets older, since she's just simply a kid right now. But we do get sister to sister, you know, colliding here when it comes to parenting skills. You know, clearly you've got two people with Kara and Alex who have two different points of view on this particular situation, especially considering the fact that it was Kara who was the alien that came to Earth and really had to sort of hide who she certainly was, right? She talks about the idea, oh, well, maybe you can get Esme something like a pair of glasses like I certainly had, or something else that will help either disguise her or help her keep her powers sort of dormant. And Alex is sort of completely against that, in a sense of, you know, I want my child to be able to know who she is, be accepting of who she is, not have to change for anybody, and learn how to kind of handle her abilities, sort of thing, right? So, but it's hard out there for an alien sometimes, you know what I mean? So I definitely do get the balance, but you know, Alex very much feels like Kara is certainly overstepping. I am at least glad that it didn't get to the point of over exaggeration where, you know, look, I was just trying to make a suggestion, right? Like, I wasn't trying to tell you how to parent. So the fact that Alex was very easygoing, at least in regards to accepting the apology from Supergirl, I thought really went a long way. And I'm sure Kara will probably make suggestions from time to time here and there, sort of thing. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's the route you have to go, right? But you know, again, with Supergirl being an alien, being very similar to that of Esme when it comes to not being able to control your abilities immediately, I can understand certainly her point of view, but it's definitely a case of put your suggestion out there, but maybe don't necessarily force it upon somebody, you know what I mean? So I am at least glad that they wind up getting that squared away. If I did have an issue though, if I did have an issue with this episode, it probably comes down to the lack of realizing that the love totem is tattooed on the back of your daughter, right? Like, we literally just dealt with this love totem, what, previous episode, 2 episodes ago? What's that, like a week or so in Supergirl's time, for all we know? The fact that at the end of the episode, when your daughter's missing, or when you finally get back the test results, the fact that you, oh, that's right, it kind of resembles the flower or the rose that we saw on the totem that represents love. Like, you guys couldn't make that connection earlier. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys have been studying the love totem for the longest in the past episode or two, and you guys didn't pick up on that to certainly begin with, right? So it's just a little bit of a bummer. Like, it's one of those things where it's so convenient that they just happen to forget that that's the case. Same thing when it comes to John telling Kara, hey, go out, relax, enjoy yourself, right? This is, you know, this is a bachelorette party time. Go enjoy yourself for Kelly and Alex's wedding. You know, don't worry, I got a psychic connection all around the world, making sure everything is protected and everything is fine. You did a fucking terrible job, John. You did an absolutely terrible job. You did an absolutely terrible job, John. You had one job to do, right? Like, you would think that his abilities were focused solely on the tower itself, making sure nothing crazy is certainly going on. Yet Esme gets kidnapped, William gets shot twice. Where's your abilities then, my guy? Where's your abilities then, John? Dropping the ball, man. Dropping the ball. So it just felt a little bit weird. Like, you tell us one thing, but John clearly didn't do his job. And clearly Alex and Kelly don't have the memory span to remember the design of the love totem. So those were maybe like the 2 issues that I had with this particular episode overall. But other than that, you know, solid, at least in regards to the character arcs, especially the focus a little bit more on Lex and Nyxyly, getting the opportunity to see that she's kind of falling for Lex a little bit, you know, realizing and being completely honest with herself at the idea that she really doesn't want to be alone. As much as she tells people that she does, deep down inside, it's like a big fear of hers, and she clearly does not want to be alone anymore. And now that she's been able to kind of confront that truth of herself, and having tested Lex, who seemingly has passed with flying colors, I can definitely understand that mindset of, you know, I can see why she certainly would start to get a little bit closer, especially when we start seeing Lex do very selfless things, like taking off his Lexo suit in order to put it on her so that she can survive whilst they're out in the middle of space, even though he's the one that's certainly gonna suffer at the end of the day. You know, there's a part of me that wants to say, man, what a great sacrifice Lex Luthor almost made in order to save the woman that he loves from that situation. You know what I mean? But again, it still feels like he has an end goal solely for himself, and he probably does need Nyxyly to survive till that moment, and so he needs her to be alive. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just leave it up to Lex. Just leave it up to Lex. It's bound to happen. It's bound to happen. If it doesn't, I would be shocked. I really would be. But overall, yeah, man, great character development and work in here. Great focus on the story, but it did pull at my heartstrings to see news of Brainiac possibly having to leave, and now the unfortunate demise and death of William Day, who really left a great impression on me this season, man. I was really enjoying his time on screen. Just unfortunate it took to season 6 for me to appreciate this guy before they axe him, unfortunately. But yeah, guys, listen, I want to know your thoughts. At the end of the day, these are just my A+ opinions, but I want to know yours. Let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys, and we'll definitely go ahead and continue this conversation until next week's season finale, ladies and gentlemen. So with that, do me a big favor, as always, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. If you enjoy our content and want to be a part of helping our channel grow, become a patron supporter. We have affordable tiers to choose from that offer a variety of exclusive and early access content, from audio files for all of our shows for you to enjoy on the road, access to our Discord community, and plenty of reactions, reviews, character breakdowns, and more. Check us out at patreon.com/A+opinions, and as always, remember, like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so anytime we drop a brand new video, you will be notified.